Ladies and gentlemen, my guest for episode 56 needs no introduction. He's the host of 2010 Minutes, a mental health podcast on its way to episode 100, dude. So please go check that out wherever you stream your podcasts and on YouTube. And boy, this man dropped a bomb halfway through this episode that we were not ready for. When I say wow, is an understatement. I mean, this episode is deep, you guys, okay? We cover a very wide range of mental health topics and other heavy-hitting discussions. Some humor, some dark humor, okay? But with all good intentions. So please, give it up in the comments for my friend, Tim McCarthy.
I was going to attempt to commit suicide via hanging May 5th, 2019, which I dubbed Cinco de Hango.
Stop. It's not fucking funny, dude.
No,
Stop laughing. It's not. Hey, it's not fucking funny. First of all, how are you, friend? It's good to see you in person. This is like the second time I've met someone on Twitter or like online, I think in general. I mean, besides like Tinder girls in my 20s, but like other than that, you know, like friends, people kind of like now I feel like we're on another connection. We're on like another plane here. We're meeting face to face and we can actually see each other.
Yeah, man, 100%. That's what I like about the whole Twitter thing. It's like you meet some good people. There's a lot of crap people out there, but no, you can run into some good people. So I appreciate you, and I'm glad that we ran into each other.
Yeah, man. And it's this interesting thing that like, and I don't know about you, but like my Twitter journey has just been like a roller coaster. I'm pretty sure I've been on since like 2009. And like, you know, since then up until like probably 2016, 2017, it was just like, you know, reposting my Instagram or promoting whatever video on YouTube I was posting at the time. I'm sure if you go way back on my Twitter feed, you'll find some shit. Might be some cancelable bullshit, but we won't mention it. Just hopefully they won't. But then like for a while, from like 2016 to like 2018, I would schedule like these motivational quotes and like these tweets that I thought would get interaction and shit I would steal from someone else and pictures and memes and this and that. And I mean, I was posting a tweet like every 20 minutes for like 3 years straight because I thought that's how I could grow my account and become someone on Twitter. And then now I like just realized the power of just following topics. And that's how fucking you and I are now doing this. Yeah, crazy. I followed the podcast topic, found you, found Haley, found a handful of other people that we now know and talk to and interact with. And it's like, holy shit. Like, and so like where your accent, where are you? Where are you from? Where are you broadcasting out of?
I was born in Dorchester, Mass, which is like a part of Boston, but I'm in Whitman, Massachusetts, which is home of the Toll House Cookie.
That's your claim to fame. You were it was Boston and you had a whole city, but now it's just one cookie.
Yeah, just one cookie.
Reasons for not being in Boston. Has it just become something or?
So I lived right after that. I lived in a suburb called Quincy, right like south where John Quincy Adams is from, city of the presidents.
Wow. Okay.
So it just gets more expensive the more close you get to Boston. So the more you get away, it's a lot easier to live. Got
it. So someone who wants to move to New York, you're probably not going to go straight for New York City first. Let's find something like an hour out, maybe New Jersey. Yeah, right. Exactly. Got it. Okay. Well, of course. And that makes sense. Well, and with real estate these days, I mean, I think right now I'm like shooting myself in the foot, not trying to sell my house because I'm pretty sure it's worth twice as much as I owe on it. And it's like, I can only imagine like New York real estate. I think Tim Dillon just bought his house in the Hamptons for like $8 million. So like, which obviously is the Hamptons, but that's nothing to do with Boston or New York City even. But I mean, penthouses can't be cheap, or brownstones or whatever else in Manhattan or Long Island at least, right?
Yeah, dude.
So tell the people, let's jump into it. Before the podcast, let's go back, man. Let's talk about, your mental health journey and what does mental health mean to you? Tim?
Oh, what a great question.
It is really good. It's original. I came up with it. It was a dream. It came to me like a dream, much like, the whole prophecy of Game of Thrones. It is a dream for me. And so I just figured I'd ask you today. It was very appropriate to ask you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, mental health means to me is mental health is something that we all have and we all have to take care of it. And there's different ways to take care of it. It kind of gets confusing with people when they say like good mental health, bad mental health. I think that we all don't have mental illnesses. Some of us have mental illness, but we all have mental health and we all can achieve good mental health, which is like if you break your arm, you go to the doctors. If you break a part of your brain, pretty much, you get to go to a therapist or a doctor to like help that out. So that's what mental health means to me, is just making sure that your status quo, like we all have sad days. We all get a little down in the dumps and that's fine. But as long as we're checking in with ourselves and we know that we're in those funks, that's when we know you have good mental health, even on bad days.
Right. And I think oh man, you might know this. Someone, and you said we're all not, what did you say? We all don't have mental illness, but we all have mental health, right?
Yep.
So, and dude, that just kind of, I don't remember who said it, but it was like, dude, we insure our houses, we insure our vehicles, and those are only worth 30 to 200 to however many thousands of dollars. How much is your brain worth? And you're not willing to spend what? 50, 100, however much dollars a month to at least attempt, or at least talk to somebody, or at least like just start a podcast. Like, that's free. You don't even have to pay for it. Like, and reaching out to people like you and me and whoever else, that's free too. So like, it's very interesting that, and I mean, I think mental health too, boy, coming out of 2020, I think has, and I've said it on this podcast before, it's certainly done a number on, I would say, what, the country?
Oh yeah,
everybody. I'd say maybe. I mean, how did you make it out of the pandemic? Touch or go there for a minute.
The pandemic, I kind of had to go through it. My job, I'm an essential employee, so I had to still go to work. I had to dodge everything. I actually, to this day, I'm going to still say, knock on wood, I have not got COVID yet. I don't know how.
Good for you.
I've trained with people in jujitsu that I rolled with, like contact of human people that had it. And I didn't get it. So I might be the like antidote that like we need.
Yeah.
Anecdote.
You're the, we need your blood.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just had to deal with it, and it definitely hurt my mental health a little bit, just because like you don't get to see certain people, you can't go to certain things. Like I could but it wasn't like anything like super depressive for me, because I know a lot of people out there. Like I know of people that like lost their jobs and instantly killed themselves because of it. It was rough for a lot of people, and I'm fortunate enough that like I still had a job, I still had to go to it, but I had to make sure to keep myself at bay and make sure that I was still doing good with everything going on around me.
Yeah, no. And I mean, yeah. And it's, by all means, we're certainly not going to get into it, but I know what kind of work you do. So that on top of what you have to deal with on a daily basis, like, I mean, Godspeed, friend. I realized a long time ago that I wasn't employee material. I was just, there was always a power imbalance, or something was off, or I knew I could do whatever it was that they were doing better. And that's just where it just led me today. I own the business I now worked for 3 years. Now I'm the owner, and I own the other business that pays my bills. So it's like, I knew long ago that wasn't for me. But boy, I mean, does that also come with a whole nother heap of stresses? I mean,
oh yeah, I bet.
I just posted on Twitter this morning, and this is, I'm honest. I don't lie anymore on this podcast, because it writes itself. I had 10 grand in my bank account, and now I have $155. Like,
yeah, I saw that tweet just a second ago.
6 hours. That's just the ever evolving door of owning your own business and doing all these things. And so my mental health journey, and I'll try to keep it short because I know I've said it a million times on here. I grew up, and I think you're what? You're 36. You'll be
36
36
on the
this year.
button. Yep.
Yep. So do our research here on this podcast. So I grew up. I'm 30, freshly 30 this year. So
Welcome.
we're a little off, but I grew up in the era where, I was bouncing off the walls at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And, it was always like, what are we doing? And my father was of the era of, hey, go outside and play. You're fine. And come back in, watch a movie, play video games, go to bed. You're fine. Like, just go outside and play. He's fine. So I was never diagnosed with anything, but we're pretty sure I've got ADHD. I never had prescription medications in my life. I picked up my first prescription medication just 6 months ago. And of course I'm a millennial too, right? So the whole healthcare thing
Yep.
in this country, and we will certainly deep dive into that here in a minute. But, as you can imagine, when I take over the ownership of the business, the whole, hey, we're going to pay half of your health insurance goes away. So now my insurance bill automatically doubles, and I say, hey, I don't like that number. Let's just get rid of it. Is that okay? Can we do that now? Did we get rid of the whole fee that they charge you if you don't have it? And they're like, yep, cool, get rid of it. Guess what? I'm 28. I'm healthy. I kind of stopped drinking a lot. And I got a kid now. So it's cool. Whatever. I'll pay $50. I'll go to Patient First once or twice a year. I never did. And then, and so here we are 5 years later. And now I'm 30, right? And so it's like, dude, your son's 3. He's going to be turning 4. You're engaged. You're 30 years old. You have 2 businesses. You have a few employees. You're responsible for their children. If I go, I'm almost positive there might be a glimmer of hope for the businesses and where they're at and who's involved if they survive. But if I go, they will take a hit. So it's you got to help yourself now. And so I got insurance this year. It's shit. I thought it was going to be great, but it's shit because it's for, business owners and it's cheaper and it's, I didn't read the fine line because the lady on the phone promised me, look, you get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get all this. And I'm like, that's what comes with every plan. That's what comes with all this shit. It's only $300. Let's go. I'll sign up right now. Give me health insurance. I'm going to start using it. But now I'm paying for this, and I'm paying for that, and I'm paying for this. I thought there was an opioid epidemic in this country because they were just giving out drugs for free. But my prescriptions for the first time in my life cost $60 for a month's supply. And when they told me that at the drive-thru, I said, is that with my insurance? Did you double check? Because when we pick up my fiance's pills, it's $1 free, $1 free. And I'm like, hey, something doesn't make sense. And it's why am I paying $300 a month now for uselessness? So man, why? Talk to me about, I know with hopefully without getting into the politics side of things, but why is it that we're the only fucking country that doesn't have free healthcare for its citizens, or at least a mental health program or something that doesn't cost, an arm and a leg? I don't know.
Yeah, dude, it is so complicated in so many different ways. It's definitely broken the mental health care system. Just like you said, healthcare in general is banana land. You you just said you paid $60 for prescriptions. I know with some co-pays, if I don't spend enough money per the year, mine goes up too. And it's the rules behind it all don't make any sense. I'm not a politic guy whatsoever. I'm kind of just let's see what happens. And I'm just I'm scared myself, and I have pretty decent insurance. And I don't know what it is. I just think it's got to be a money thing. It's always comes down to money. But yeah, it's unfortunate people have to go through that. And it's I'm asking for help. My hands are out. I need something. I don't make that enough money. They're well, I'll just jiggle it in front of you and you come back when you have your $60.
Right. Well, right. And yeah, and I mean, and I'm sure, because listen, here's the thing, a little disclosure over here on the What Are We Doing podcast. The comment section isn't so positive. Okay. We've got some people who don't agree with some things we say, some people who don't agree with the voice coming out of this person. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. So there's probably going to be some naysayers like, well, of course, because we're spending fucking billions of dollars and we're doing this and it's Obama and fucking Biden and we would America, Trump, you know. Of course, we're probably going to get that. Unfortunately, I apologize.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
that's
listen,
why I just tell people I'm dumb. So it's
well,
way
of
easier.
course. And it's like, listen, dude, right. Because we all are. Like, and that's what it should be. Like, it should be easy. It should be easy for me to go to the doctor and make an appointment. I've had a prescription a second one that needs to be filled for like 6 weeks is probably not there anymore because I haven't picked it up because it's just not in my psyche of thinking. And it's like, it should be. And why isn't it? Right. And so, man, I think that's just I think that's what people like you are doing. And I mean, I think next to every female on the planet having a true crime podcast, I think mental health is probably like the second biggest. And I think yours is by far the one I've been listening to. I know.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's it's one of those things where you know, there's plenty of options out there, but I think so just tell me about your podcasting journey so far, because I know some things and we'll jump into some people here in a minute, but I mean, why did we start the podcast? When did we start this? And just let the people know everything they need to know. And forgive me, because I as I said, I have a 3rd grade reading level. The pronunciation, because me and Megs have been fucking it up all week. It's 20 minutes. Yep,
100%. 20 minutes. It's good. A lot of people say 20 TI minutes, and they think it's a podcast about T.I. the rapper. So.
Yes. See, and you probably have like a 1-star review somewhere, like I came here for T.I.
Yep, exactly. And you know what it is too? It's like I could have added the other M, but it just didn't look right. So
20
I'm like, I gotta put it together.
You know what? It's one of my companies is named Sparks Entertainment, and it's SPARKX as an XYZ, and like no one spells it right. So it's you know, it is what it is, and we go with it. It's your brand now. So I mean, if you've got it on shirts and beanies, it's done. It's done.
Exactly. So yeah, I did a podcast like 2014 with my buddy. It was called Bill and Tim's Bogus Podcast. It was awful.
Okay.
And I wanted to do one again, but I just didn't want to be like another like white bald dude with like facial hair doing a podcast talking about everything and anything. You know what I mean? So
there's a couple I can think of. There's a couple, just a couple.
So back in 2019, I was going to attempt to commit suicide via hanging, May 5th, 2019, which I dubbed Cinco de Hango.
Jesus fucking Christ. Stop. It's not fucking funny, dude. No, stop laughing. It's not. Hey, it's not fucking funny. They're laughing. Stop.
So yeah, that's the only thing I can get through.
Jesus, God damn it. I'm mad you just did. Okay, well, a little fucking, all right, keep going. Jesus Christ, way to throw me a curveball. I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, it was probably the darkest day of my life. And
God, we're good now, right? It's not going to happen on the podcast?
No. I'm definitely 10 times better. I was like I felt like I was in the movie Get Out without the racism. Like I felt like I was in the back seat of my brain and my body was doing stuff. But,
like you were falling in the trash can. Yes. Wow.
And I wasn't controlling my body, but I remember most of everything. Like the day that happened, I watched Adam Sandler's like Freshness or whatever it was, that special he had. And at the end, he did a song for Chris Farley, and I was just like so empathetic. I was like so emotional. And then I remember like walking by my dog and like waving bye to him. And then like I walked up the stairs and I felt like my body was walking. I was behind it. Like I don't know if it was an out of body experience, but I definitely felt like weird. And I just stood there with my jujitsu belt around my neck, just crying hysterically. And like the one thing that like woke me up was like my cat. So like I'm a big animal person. So my cat like went through my legs and I was like, I kind of like was like, what's up? And like, I realized I didn't feed her. And I was like, shit. I was like,
yeah,
I'd be a real asshole
Yep.
if I didn't feed my
I
cat.
gotta do that. Yep.
So I fed my cat, and then like my phone rang, and like I saw like I had Snapchat messages, and one of my coworkers, I was making kind of crazy remarks to him, and he like called work, and people from work were searching for me and all this stuff. So I kind of I put my hands up. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing too hot. And I had to go like talk to some people and stuff. So like fast forward through that, I got help with therapy, medication, found out I was bipolar II, ADHD, general anxiety, just all like the combo special from Wendy's. You know what I mean? Just give it to me all.
$5 biggie bag, baby.
Yeah, dude. Seriously. They're like, you want extra depression with that? I'm like, sure. Give it to me.
Not fucking funny, dude. Stop laughing.
Not funny at all. Break the stigma, crack a smile. So yeah, so like I wanted to help back some way. And I know I volunteered for this town called Plymouth in Massachusetts, Plymouth Rock. So it's the Plymouth County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and I wanted to help them out because I saw like a t-shirt. So in the midst of that, I started the podcast, and it was kind of coincided. I wanted to do a mental health podcast. It wasn't reinventing the wheel, but I was like, I want to do something where, because there's so many professional ones out there where they talk about these big words. They're like scientists, professors. I'm like, I'm just a dude that like is going through the shit, and like maybe someone can relate to me. And like after like the 3rd episode, someone messaged me like, you inspired me to like go get therapy, and I was like, that's awesome.
Done.
So on my first t-shirt sales, I took a portion of that and donated it to the Plymouth County, and I made like $300 or whatever. I didn't feel like it was enough, but they were like, you helped us buy so many books for classes. And it was like, awesome. So that was like a great feeling. So yeah, 22 minutes, it came about because like, it's like a joke. It's like an inside joke for myself where like, I did it for 20 minutes because like my ADHD, I can only talk to myself for so long. So like so I was like, I got to make it into like a thing. So my buddy helped me with the name 22 minutes. And what's even funnier is when I do interviews on Thursdays, it's not 20 minutes. So my guests come on and they're like, oh, so this is like 20 minutes. I'm like, nah, just like a running gag now. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. So it's that I have a lot of fun with my guests with that one.
Yeah, no. I caught on to that pretty quickly, and first of all, dude, insane. Thank you for sharing. I mean, that's wild, and I'm so glad you're here. Thanks, so just going down the list, and so as soon as I say some of these names, let me get like a little snippet, a backstory, maybe some behind the scenes, something that we didn't see in the episode, or like this for this first one. Unfortunately, I didn't see this one, but and maybe the name is a little explains itself. But John's Crazy Socks. Does he actually sell socks?
He does. John's Crazy Socks does sell socks.
Okay, so we need to go see some what and why are they crazy?
So John's Crazy Socks is owned by a man with Down syndrome, John.
Awesome.
And his dad, Mark. They run a company together, and they were one of my favorite episodes. And he almost made me cry. I never almost cried with someone on the interview, but he was so motivating, and he's a special human. Like I wouldn't even say he has special needs. He's just a special human that was born differently. And he wanted to start a business with Crazy Socks, and his motto is socks, socks, and more socks. They sent me socks. I love them. I still wear them to this day. Behind the scenes, I never got an email from one of my guests that said something to me after. Like he gave me a testimonial without even asking for it. They were on like a Windows commercial. They were on like ABC Today. Like they were on like some big things, and they're like, this is my favorite episode because everyone interviews us and they talk about John, which is awesome. Like this is what we need to talk about, but no one's ever asked about the mental health side. And he goes, the easiest thing in life was raising a son with Down syndrome. He's like, everything else around it was awful. And it was just really cool. So like that interview is like one of my legit favorites. Dude.
No, that's I'm on the site now. We'll have all that link below, and I think I'll probably get Meg's these sunflower ones. She's obsessed, so I'm sure she'll love that.
My mom's a big sunflower person. I got a sunflower tattoo.
Do you? Can we see? Is it nearby or no?
It's on my ankle.
It's okay. No, okay.
No. I'm putting my leg up, dude. I train, dude. Look at that.
There you go. There you go. Bang.
Woo.
Dope.
What's if I didn't have pants on?
Yeah. No, Megs is actually, I think Megs is actually I think she's getting a sunflower tattoo literally right now. I think
That's
she's
awesome.
there right now getting a sunflower tattoo. So awesome. Okay, John's crazy socks, perfect. And dude, you've got one of my white whales. I want Haley from Podcast 27 on here so bad.
That's my girl.
Yes. Tell me tell me that meet cute story. What's going on there and how, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is so I can clip this and tag her and then get the process rolling. So
She's one of the sweetest people that you'll ever meet. So
yes. And
when I first got on Twitter, there was like I didn't know what was going to expect, because I did stand up comedy. Let's back up a little bit. I did stand up comedy in Boston, and everyone was very cliquey. Like everyone had their arms crossed. Like laughter was currency, and no one wanted to give their currency out.
Right.
So I was nervous about podcasting. I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like I'm gonna have to deal with people like this and that. Then I realized like it's kind of like TV. Like you turn your channel on, like you get like politics. You want to talk about everything and anything. Go to channel 3. It's like different episodes. Like, you know what I mean? There's different sitcoms or like documentaries. So she was one of the first people I met. It was like Chicago Tony V, Haley, Job from Decent Takes, Glaja, and I forget who else. There's a couple other people, but like Haley was the first one we chatted with because she deals with mental health as well, and she has her own battles. And just one of those things. You meet somebody and like you just hit it off, and like you get each other's humor, you get each other's like storytelling. And yeah, she's just a beautiful human. She came up to Salem with her husband, and it was me and my girlfriend. And like when we met each other for the first time, it was like we already hung out. Like it wasn't awkward. It wasn't like awkward hugs and stuff like that. It was just like I'd known this person for so long. And yeah, Haley's like legit one of my best friends. She texted me today actually because my episode came out late. She goes, "Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just being super lazy."
Right. And yeah. And dude, even just being on Twitter and just seeing like everything that she has gone through and is going through with the lightning in the house and everything going on. Like, dude, just thinking about her in that way. And it just goes back to that, like, it's this, I try to explain Twitter to people because like I'm like the only person within a 50-mile radius who's on it. Like it's me, my buddy Carlos, who I podcast with from 280 plus and recap and record, shameless plug. And like you guys, like Megs has no interest, and my buddy Josue, and that's it. And like no one else.
Great.
No one else is like, they're like, dude, it's like Facebook and Instagram. And I'm like, that's shit. Like, and this is what I mean. This is why Twitter is different because we can interact and we can kind of see through the bullshit. Like, it's not really like, I don't know, like it's just not a place for bullshit. It is, but like, do you know what I mean? Like you can tell
100%.
and like, there's a reason. There's a reason you clicked on Calendly and booked this day. There's a reason Haley and her husband drove up and you met her and it was like everything that happened never before. Yeah. And like you don't really get that, I don't think, with like the Facebook, Instagram era. It's a little far off. Because it's like, I'm probably being catfished right now.
Yeah.
I know that happens on Twitter, but of course, like it's, you know what I mean? Like there's just a side of it. Like if you're on the right side of it, that it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I've been on it in my other profile. Like when I first started, I was an 09 kid too. I think Twitter is the best. So you get like all the first memes, all the crazy videos. It's like the newspaper for the internet.
Yeah. And you know what too? And it's just genius, I think, of me because like the shit I see on Twitter is not on Facebook and it's fucking hilarious. So I just copy and paste that shit and put it on my Facebook wall and everyone thinks I'm a goddamn genius. Yeah. And it's like,
dude,
it's way. Like, dude, if you guys were just here, you'd like have the invite. Like you'd be like, you know what I mean? Like we're grilling, like we got the burgers ready and like you guys are still at the pool. Like it's whatever, but fine. You know, so, and I mean, and like, it's just going back to like, even like, so what was your first social media? Were you a MySpace kid or were you like Zanga Friendster?
I was a MySpace kid. That was
Yeah.
like my transition from high school to college was MySpace and AIM.
Mm.
So like putting someone in your top 8 was
Oh,
like big news, man.
bro.
Big news.
Listen to me. Do you remember some of your top 8? Because I have mine. Mine were my best friend and business partner now, Justin. He was definitely in my top 8 because he was trying to be the next rapper at the time, and I quote unquote was and am still am his manager, even though we never did anything but more than 40 views on SoundCloud. No
Yep.
worries. And other than that, I think Megs at the time because we were high school sweethearts, and Chris Angel, of course, because I wanted him to notice me because I did a stint of magic for like 8 years.
Nice.
So, and like I think I probably had like just other celebrities for clout on there.
I had one celebrity. I forget what his last name. It was Johnny something. He was a curly head blonde dude. He was on like he was on Survivor, I think. He was a wrestling fan. I forget his name. It's like
Wow.
Johnny Fairplay.
Okay. Yeah.
He was
Yep.
random celebrity. He was on my top 8, and then a friend I met through a band, Aaron Abraham. He's part of this band called Whole Wheat Bread. They're
Mhm.
an all black punk band, and they're awesome. So check out Whole Wheat Bread. Shout
Okay.
out to Aaron Abraham.
Aaron Abraham, whole wheat bread. Okay,
Yep.
dude. Got it. Okay. And of course, speaking of MySpace, and I honestly, I'll do my best and I'll obviously cut out the entire hour, but let's just spend 3 hours talking about Dane Cook because listen, as much as I try and as much as I attempt to get people on this show, it's basically, just them laughing and then not responding. But I mean,
Yeah.
when I saw you pull that guest and you told me how, and we won't spill secrets, but just, I mean, were you shaking? Did you need 19 pills that day? How was your mental health that day? Because I was nervous 5 minutes before this interview, let alone probably if I had Dane Cook on the call.
Right.
So like talk to me, man.
Yeah, for sure. He donated his time, which was great. It was actually a year in the making.
Right.
So I was interviewed by Tony Grebmeyer, who's like one of my like favorite people. He's the one that helped me like get a message to him
Mhm.
and figure out how to get it. And yeah, he got back to me, but everything would never line up. And I never got like upset about it. I was never like, oh, screw this. He's on. I was just like, you know what, man? He's got a different life. He's just a little bit busier than
Keep
a lot
going.
of us.
Right.
And he would always say, like, when I got back from this, blah, blah, that from this. And he was being honest. Like that was it. And he had a lot going on. He was on tour with like Chappelle and stuff. So the day he said he could do it, I wasn't prepared at all. I pretty much like ran to my booth and was like, I got to get this thing together. I was like, I got to figure this out. So
Right.
I definitely was nervous. I was very happy. And I was like, you know what, man, he's, to do this, he just shows you how, like, say what you will about him, but he's a really good dude. And he called me tenacious. He's like, he's like, you got a lot of tenacity. Cause I kept messaging him like every like 2-3 months, just being like checking in. He's like, I just love your tenacity when it came to that. And he's like, and he was just like, I clipped it at the end. I'll never share it with anybody, but I was still recording. I usually stop it when I'm done with my guests. So we just have a chat.
Yeah.
And he said probably like the nicest things to me about, he's like, this was awesome. You're doing such a great job. And it was just like really genuine what he was saying. He wasn't just like pumping my time. Like he could have been like, all right, gotta go. Like
Right.
I've talked to people
Right.
that aren't that famous and like, oh, gotta
Right.
run. Like that's it. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yep.
But he took the time. It was just funny that like I was gonna bring up his girlfriend in the interview before he got engaged, and I was gonna be like, hey, are you gonna get engaged soon? And I pulled back and I wasn't gonna do it. And I wish I did now just because of like the first off him getting engaged, and then second, kind of like the whole crazy shit going on, which
Little bit.
I don't want to get into, like
Not
someone
necessary.
else's life.
Yep.
Do what you will, just don't
Yep.
break rules.
A little bit. Yep. Don't break the rules. Yeah, that's a solid rule to live by. But I mean, yeah, man. I mean, and of course, I think I was just in that era as well. I could still to this day quote you the Benson's Animal Farm bit from his special that just, I mean, I think it's comical genius. It's up
He was
there.
a heavy hitter, man.
It's up there.
He was a beast.
Yeah, I mean the numbers I think he was pulling were just like unheard of at the time, and yeah, and I mean his story and just and the history and his brother and the rise and the fall and the back and everything, and then
Yeah.
it's just it's a I did call it a victory.
Yeah,
I'd
just
say.
getting shit on all the time. And funny enough, he was on the week before. He was on Logan
Bro,
Paul's podcast,
and
like
and
a
that's and
week
that's
before.
and that's what I'm fucking talking about. And that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Because like when I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I'm talking to Tim. Okay, I'm talking to Tim September. Okay, cool. And then I'm on YouTube and then I see Impulsive because like, of course I have to watch Impulsive. I got to keep up with everything. I got to know what's going on. I don't watch the
Yeah,
full episodes, but whatever, And I see him. And of course, like they're talking about the brother and the money and the story and everything.
yeah,
And I'm like, dude, okay, cool. Like Dane Cook's back. I saw him on a podcast maybe 3 or 6 months ago. Blah blah blah. Good to see he's doing good. And then he got engaged. And then boom, there's your episode. And I'm like, what the fuck? Was there a press circuit that I missed? Was there like a tweet sign up that I missed? Because like, holy shit. Like you
yeah.
went from fucking Impulsive to Tim 220 minutes. And it's like, man, I mean, it's fantastic. It must feel good. It must feel
Yeah,
good.
it definitely feels good. I wish my numbers were a little bit higher, but no, it was really cool of him, and I'll never forget it. And I told him next time I see him, I was like, I got a bunch of stuff for him. So yeah. It's funny because I showed him a photo of us when we met when I was like 17.
I did see
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, looked like a skateboarder from Tony Hawk. And he
Right.
looked like my dad. But no, he was really cool about that too. So yeah, hopefully I get to run into him again. So he'll be my second guest that I interviewed and met. So Haley being the first one. So I gotta do like a follow-up and meet somebody else that I've interviewed.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. Well, so Boston from Pennsylvania?
Not
That's
too bad.
probably, yeah. Okay.
Probably like 6-8 hours, maybe.
Maybe an 8-hour drive. Okay. All right.
Depends what part are you near? You near Philly or
We're
Pittsburgh?
yeah, no. So I think we're central. So Pittsburgh and
Oh,
Philly
okay.
are like both 2 to 3 hours that way. We're Hershey Park,
Okay,
Hershey
so
chocolate. So we're in
you
the
don't
middle.
have like the Jersey Philly accent when you say hot dog, like
No,
those types of
no,
words. But
no.
you
We're
also
not.
don't say yens.
No, we don't say yens. We don't say dogs. We're hot dogs. Give me a can of soda.
Yeah, dude,
Hey, you
you guys are
guys over
different.
there. I'll say y'all if like I'm like, oh hey, what y'all doing? Like
Same.
maybe, but like it has nothing to do with where we're from.
I lived in North Carolina, so like I picked up the y'all. It's just way easier than say, hey,
Right.
what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's very interesting. Yeah, no, where we live is let's be honest. If this $1 billion weapons deal goes through with Taiwan's and China launches the missiles, it'd be just fine if they hit where we live first. Like just
Yeah, right.
hit us before the White House, and then it's perfectly fine for everybody else. Like it's just kind of it's a little shitty. And I think they just reported. I think I just saw a tweet that like over Labor Day weekend, like 50 people were shot in Philadelphia or some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's just insanity. So I mean, but I know that's like fucking everywhere, and we can't do anything about it. So something that I don't think I've ever kind of like discussed, and I just kind of like let it up to my guest and people who are interested and maybe ask, like I've never discussed like my studio space. And when I was watching some of your older episodes and some of your newer ones, your Harry Potter closet there that it looks like you're in has evolved. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Man, I've heard that before and I love it. I absolutely love it because that's exactly what it is, man.
But so it has certainly evolved. I see you are a sticker collector, so I will certainly get you some What Are We Doing podcast stickers over there soon. Tell me about your Funko collection because this is only a fraction of mine towered behind me.
Yeah, I only put a couple of my favorite ones out here. So I got Tim the Enchanter from Monty Python the Holy Grail, obviously, because like that's my whole intro to the episode.
Yep.
And then I got Bill and Ted because like that throws back to my Bill
Your
and
pod.
Tim's Bogus podcast. Yep. Then I have like old school Space Jam Michael Jordan hanging out in the back. I got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I collect rubber ducks.
Nice.
Got my Green Lantern rubber duck. I have a Nate Diaz signed UFC glove.
There you go.
It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse sneezed in here.
Dude, well, no, and I mean, hey, I mean, my, like this is just kind of like a fraction of my collection. This here is a, oh, careful. This here is a designer handbag to mimic a McDonald's Happy Meal.
Nice.
I believe retail value is like $350. Don't ask me how or why I have it. And then there's a hand from IKEA that I'll probably never change the symbol of. Some alcohol. What else?
Is that Patron?
Yeah, bottle of Patron straight from Mexico, straight from Cancun.
My drink of choice when I have, like when you drink with somebody, and you have to catch up to them when they're drinking, is I drink pee-pee juice, which is Patron and pineapple. It is delicious.
So just pineapple juice. And
pineapple juice and Patron. It's got to be a perfect amount, though, because if it's one or the other too much, it's
50-50?
Yeah, it's got to be 50-50.
50-50. Yeah, of course. Of course it does. Yeah, I mean, I'm more of like a 75 Patron, 25 whatever else kind of guy. But, you know, but dude, fuck yeah. Okay, so if we ever meet, I will bring this bottle. It is unopened. I will save this bottle for you.
Perfect. I like it.
That is my pledge. So if we ever meet in person, I will bring this and we will crack that open.
Fantastic.
What else? Oh, I've got one out of the 15 Post Malone Funko Pops that I own. There are only 3 Post Malone Funko Pops in production, but I have 15. So we'll leave it at that. There is a physical Bitcoin back here, so I'm basically a millionaire.
Physical Bitcoin.
Yeah. And just a Christmas vacation. I don't even think I'm blocking it. It's a Christmas vacation car that just sings the song from the movie National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because I'm obsessed with it. We watch it every other month in my house. It's just
don't fix what ain't broke.
Yeah, no, it's I have daddy issues, and it was his favorite movie, so it just kind of now it's just I'm trying to make it my own, so I need to like it more than he did. So you know, it's just a thing.
Right, daddy issues. I'm with you on that, man. We're cut from the same cloth.
Oh, bro, dude. Okay, so all right, you told your story. My daddy issues. I don't think I've ever. Oh shit, I've never told this story on the podcast. Megs is gonna fucking kill me. My daddy issues. So me and my dad were best friends. Me and my dad were best friends up until we were 18 years old, until I was 18. Not 18. I was like maybe 19. I don't know when it was, because I blocked it out. And so he would call me every day, just like, hey, V, what you doing? Oh, nothing, working. What's up? Okay, cool. Nothing, cool, whatever. Come over tomorrow, hang out, whatever. We'll get lunch, cool, whatever. Just like, every day on the phone, called him, didn't matter what it was, even when he was at work, like, and he worked on the fucking psych unit of the hospital. So like they would page him to like stop administering medication to someone who fucking needs it on the psych ward. Wow. Well, small world. So, you know, and then he would just come talk to me for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And then one day, I watched his house because he doesn't like saving money, much like me. So he cashed out some of his 401k and bought an apartment in Ocean City, New Jersey, and the Dominican Republic. So he would go there like every other week just because they could. And he only worked weekends, so he'd spend the weeks there. Why not? And so I watched the house because they were all going somewhere for a weekend, and because of college or whatever at the time, I couldn't. They were cool with my girlfriend at the time coming over. They were cool with my friends, whatever. At least I thought so. And then when they got back, I got a phone call that said, hey, your shit's on the porch. Come get it. And I said, okay, what does that mean? And they said, we'll talk about it. Maybe, I don't know. And I went over. All the doors were locked. The blinds were closed as if no one was there, but all the vehicles were. So like, I'm not an idiot. Right. And I took my shit and I waited for a call. And that was about 17 years ago.
Still no call?
Maybe not 17 years ago. I'm exaggerating. Maybe like 10. It was when I was 18 or 19. But yeah, something like that.
And you have no idea.
Not that anyone has ever told me. My sister has had a similar relationship with them. She's currently on the mends and fixing things. He was at her wedding last year, so we were kind of all in Mexico together. So that was a fun experience. But I said about 2 words to him and then walked away. But there was nothing said, no apologies, no no reasoning, no letters, calls, texts, voicemails. I waited by the phone, and eventually that turned into 10 years.
Yeah, man, that's kind of a huge bummer.
yeah, right. So I mean, but I mean, it just, but like, I mean, it's not, it's, everyone's like, oh, well, you should just reach out to your dad, and I'm like, well,
Right.
bitch should reach out to me,
Yeah.
and so it's like, and that's just where I'm at with it, and it's like I don't need, like, I'm doing just fine. I've got fucking McDonald's designer handbags in my studio. Like I don't
Yep.
need, like I'm okay. Like I'm not whatever. So it's just one of those things that, like, the next call I expect is, hey, he had a heart attack, he's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then I will have to make a decision, and it'll be tough, but whether I go, and if not, I don't, and we'll see what happens. So
Yeah.
but other than that, man, I mean, it's just kind of like, and of course, Megs and I just, she's always been there for me, and just going through her mental health journey, and just we just kind of now, and I mean, Megs and I met when we were in high school, in 2010, 2009. So we've been together for essentially 12, 13 years. And like, we're just now like being like, hey, this is how I fucking feel, And so, but like, she'll support me in whatever I want to do. But like, it'll have to be a conversation, and, but I just know that, like, I can do better for my son, and et cetera, et cetera. And like, we've been on TikTok, of course, all through 2020. And of course, because of whatever algorithm gods you believe in, everything that relates to your life always gets fed into your fucking TikTok feed. So we get these, recurring TikToks of, you don't need toxic parents. You can get out of that relationship. You don't owe your parents anything, et cetera, and check all those boxes. And then that just kind of cemented shit in. And it's like, like, thank you for what you did, and I appreciate it, and I am who I am because of it, and I am my father's son, 100%. 100%. It is every moral that he has, the cheapness, the choices, the whatever else, it's him 24/7. So, but I mean, I just, I'll change that stigma, and I'll fucking smile at him as he's walking away. So,
Hell yeah, more power to you, man.
yeah. So it's just, but I mean, listen, and like, I don't just, people are like, wow, what? You don't talk to your dad? What? Blah, blah, blah. Like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, like, I've got other people in my life, like, that I can rely on, or that, like, so it's just, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So, jumping into maybe something a little bit more comical, or at least something that I think, like the What Are We Doing podcast. Listen, man, I sit here and I bullshit, and if a school bus crashes into a lake, I say, well, maybe it's the kid's fault. You know what I mean? Not the driver's. So like, it's a lot of sarcasm, a lot of dark humor. And I mean, we've certainly hit that roller coaster here in this episode, but let's talk about something that's just kind of, just maybe something that people haven't necessarily put two and two together. But, and I think you had mentioned, and maybe you did it, or you were in the scene of stand-up comedy, but just the mental health surrounding the events of last year's Oscars, because I never talked about it on this podcast. And I think that it needs, obviously conversations have already been had, but I mean, like, from the side of like Will Smith and Chris Rock and the joke, and where that line gets drawn, and the apologies, and everything we know now, and where everyone's at. And basically, Will's sorry, he's making movies again, and yeah, he's banned for 10 years, but that's a vacation for him because he really doesn't like going to the Oscars anyways. Right. And Chris will never host again, and he'll probably never talk about it until Netflix offers him $80 billion to do so. So, like, but I mean, that mental health weighing down on, hey, Chris Rock, Google his name, guess what comes up? Like, that's his legacy now forever. Like, so how would you react to that? Did you see that maybe in Boston? I know Boston does have a very relevant comedy scene. I think thanks to Joe, obviously, or maybe
Yeah.
not if you have different opinions, but
Bill Burr and Joe.
Bill Burr and Joe, yeah. So I mean, so just I mean, I don't know. What do you go into that maybe?
Yeah, so I remember seeing that, and I thought it was fake at first. Like I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
realize.
Oh, we were taking money bets left and right. I had people telling me fake, real. And I think the censor is what got me. Like they wouldn't have censor beeped anything if it was already planned.
Right.
So
I was doing like frame by frame on my phone, being like, I don't know, he already turned his
he's
face
got a
before he
thing.
gets
He's got a protector on his cheek. There's a
Yeah.
brown piece of plastic so it could take the blow. Like what the fuck?
I think with joking is tough in a sense of like it's who you're aiming it at. I think everything can be funny in
Right.
a certain way. It's like obviously like you can be like, oh, this guy's kind of fat, huh? Like, oh, he's a big guy, instead
Right.
of like being like, oh, that guy's a fat piece of shit. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, there's a
Right.
big difference in
Right.
like the way
Right.
you present it. That's just like a weird way to like give that
Yeah.
an example. But the joke he made, I forget what it was. It was about like her alopecia or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. As Jada Pinkett Smith's. Yeah.
I just think with what Will and Jada has been to, his reaction to it was definitely odd. And like to swear at Chris, go up and hit him when especially like them two don't even have the best relationship as it is. Like she gave him a look. He was laughing beforehand, what it seemed like he was laughing at first. And then she looked at him and he
Right.
like just went up and smacked him.
Right.
So again, with jokes, I think Anthony Jeselnik is really good with that because he makes pretty atomic jokes and he's never apologetic for it. I think people that have to apologize for jokes in a certain way, it's like, yeah, if you're making fun of like a school shooting or something, it's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have made that joke. But
Right.
for the most part, it's like there's no jokes that I'm like, ooh, like that shouldn't have been said or anything like that. I think that's just the way my
Right.
brain works. I don't really get offended by anything. I think this world is just too crazy to start being offended by stuff for like just the
Right.
sake of it. So
Right.
I always kind of see from like both sides of the coin that I'm like, oh, I get this side of why they're upset, but
Yep.
I also get this side that people are like, oh, like that's not that big of a deal. Like I'm always like, I'm on the fence.
Right.
People like you can't be
Right.
on the fence. I'm like, no, I'm always hanging on the fence. You can just sit on it,
Right.
dangle your legs, you're good.
Yeah, well, and even me, like even I've trust me, there are things that I have cut out of the podcast. There are things that I have written that were never recorded. There are jokes that were made, or some things that could have been a little maybe either edgy or racist or whatever it was at the time. But like everyone who knows me knows that that's not the case. It's not malicious. It's not this. It's not that. It's just like sometimes when you're vibing with your friends and you're like, yo, fuck that bitch, whatever. It's like shit comes out. And so like, and even when you're a stand-up comedian, you're constantly making jokes. And it's like, dude, even the fucking bit about like your room, the Harry Potter closet, I went back and forth up until like 2:00 today that whether or not I was going to say it, because I'm talking to a dude who has a mental health podcast. And it's like, then you're over here calling shit fucking Cinco de Jango with your jiu-jitsu belt in the closet. And I'm like, what the fuck? So obviously there's got to be like if that's the cap for us and we're normal people, like just fucking imagine what Will Smith must be going through on a daily basis. Like, yeah. It's got to be therapy nonstop.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever would want to smack somebody for just making a joke. I've talked about this too. It's like people at sporting events that fight are like demented. Like
Yes.
You would have to spit in my face for me to do anything.
Right.
Like you're gonna make fun of my team. Like that's the par for the course. Like if you're gonna dump a beer on me, okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna like spit in my face or like make like a sexual advancement to like somebody I'm with, like that's where I might draw the line. But even then, I'm gonna be like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly.
Back to that joke about Harry Potter, though. My friend made a pretty funny joke about this. So if you look at the early episodes, there's nothing on the walls, like nothing at all.
Right.
And he goes, oh, dude, I didn't know Anne Frank had a podcast. I was like,
wow, dude,
that's wicked good.
Dude. I mean, hey, while we're talking about it.
Wasn't my joke.
Hey, but listen, it's okay. Speaking of Anne Frank, I just at 30 years old realized how terrible it was that in middle school, like in 2004, 2005, I played Peter in the school play that we put on for Anne Frank. And like we had sets and beds, and like the Gestapo knocked on our door and we had to hide, and like we were fearing for our lives because we were hiding in this attic. Like, bro, we legit put on in the 7th or 8th grade a play fucking with the Anne Frank and the Holocaust. Like, what? And like, and I thought that was normal, and no one said anything to me up until like 2 weeks ago. Literally 2 weeks ago, when my buddy Paul was like, wait a minute, you played what and who and where? And I said, dude, I was Peter. I was the leading boy in Anne Frank, the play at Northeastern Middle School. Okay. And he was like, do you understand what you just said? You were in a play in middle school about the fucking Holocaust. Like, what are we do you think they can do an Anne Frank play today? You know?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
What a play to be in. Did you have like dance numbers and stuff, or did you just?
No,
okay, that's good.
I don't think so. I think it might have been a muse. I will have to. I am still kind of partially. I could still reach out to the girl who played Anne. She would definitely respond to me, and if I can see if she can remember if she has details or not, because I think I might have blacked it out. I think I might have blocked it out in like 2019 when I almost drank myself to death. I think I might have deleted that file. Oh man.
Oh Jesus.
So okay. Boom, 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 boom. So let's just talk about one quick thing, and then we're going to wrap this up. Hitting topic when it comes to mental health. Can you give the audience of this podcast maybe your best advice when it comes to money and money management, and how that can just really take over your mental health? Because like my tweet, and as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, I mean, it's constantly a stressor in my life. Like this morning, I was like fucking freaking out on the phone with the bank, and now I'm like, everything's fine. So it's like a roller coaster of emotions sometimes, and I get it. I'm a special case, but I mean, other people, especially in today's climate, like we just rolled through the McDonald's drive-through, and the guy was like, dude, I have my CDL. I can drive a forklift, and I'm making $10 an hour here at McDonald's. Can you help me? And I'm like, FedEx, I don't know, like go down the street. And it's like the economy is still fucked from COVID. And I know people are finding their own side hustles and making their own way and making money, but it's still kind of, I think the stimulus is dried up. So hit them with some sauce.
That's a tough one because I was in the midst of that. I was never good with money. I never learned how to manage money growing up, and it definitely didn't help me with my mental illness, because most people with bipolar and bipolar II, they have risky behaviors or like money spending issues. Right. And like mine was like casinos and buying stuff I don't really need and all this stuff. So I'm actually going through that right now to get like my credit like kind of like taken care of. So I think the only thing would be like just learn about money, like just like putting like $100 a week away and not even touching it. I started getting into stocks. I had to like go on Reddit and figure out what the hell stocks do.
Put it all in GameStop and AMC, baby. GameStop and AMC all the way.
That's all you need to do. But I just investing and saving is like two of the things that you need to look into. And I'm 36 and I'm still learning about it. So don't feel ashamed about it. And just look for your future. Like I got my pension coming up with my job that I'm looking forward to. Like I'm already starting my retirement. I wish I could just have that money now, which would be a lot cooler, until I was like 65 and old and I can't really do much.
Right.
But I digress. You definitely just need to save as much as you can and like think about it. It's like, do you really need to stop for that coffee that gets you jacked up? Or do you need to stop and get fast food? Or can you just go food shopping one week? It's like stuff like that. Those little things do add up. It's the little things in life. And that's one of them. Like $5 every day adds up. 5 times 30. Don't know what it is, but that's a lot of money to me. $150.
Yep.
Easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean right, and that's it, and I think that's it too. And so were you into any crypto at all before the crash? I know you said you're getting the stock, so I didn't know if you trickled into the digital side of it all.
No, I got into it like way later than that. That's when I think it was going down. But internet money made me like kind of like uneasy. Like I didn't really understand. I'm such an old head. Like when it comes to that,
Got
I'm
it.
like, what? Cash isn't even king anymore. I went to
Right.
Washington D.C. I couldn't pay anything in cash.
Yep.
Everything was I was like, what?
Yep. Yeah, it's dirty, bro. It's all funky money. Yeah, and I mean, so stocks, like we're talking like S&P 500, like Apple, Google, stuff like that, or what are you messing
Oh,
around with?
I'm just messing with like penny stocks right now, just so I
Okay.
can get my feet wet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't even know. I think I like a couple weed companies and like some steel and gold companies.
Yeah.
Like that's about it.
Yeah. Cool. Cool, man. No, that's and I mean I think it's good. I put all my money into Bitcoin 2 years ago, and I got out at a smidge of a loss before the crash that just happened. So we're
Yeah.
good. Withdrew it and put it on her finger. So then, but now I think it was. Let's just say if it was roughly about at its max about 12,000. And I think right now, if it was still in, it'd be about 3. So thank goodness for the moves we made. But I
Yep.
mean, yeah, but I mean, investing is, it's always risky, but I mean, yeah, if you're just messing around and trying to figure out where it goes and how it works and, what it does, by all means, yeah. Have your,
Yeah, for sure.
have you seen like any huge jumps or like 5 or 10% jumps in the last couple weeks?
No, like I think the most one I've had like is 2%. Like again, I like forget I even have it.
Right.
It's just like I just like to keep an eye on it. Just again, like I'm trying to be better with my money. It's like, yeah, investment is like a risky like move right now, but I think I'm going through a separation right now too. So like I'm in the midst of like figuring that out and which isn't it's a bad thing, but it's not as terrible as it is. Me and my current wife right now, like going through a separation, we're still best friends.
Right.
We still live together for the time being. Just one of those
Good.
things that just wasn't working out anymore.
Good.
And so I'm making sure to take care of myself in this midst of like money and life and
Right.
shit.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, if she tries coming for it all, just send it all to me and then
Yeah.
we'll just file you bankruptcy and then I'll just send it back.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll send it back in a Shack coin, which is Radio Shack's cryptocurrency. So they can't find it. We'll use Pancake Swap. We'll trace the identity. I'll use ExpressVPN. There's going to be no way they find that money from her.
I like it.
I'm just
I like
joking.
it.
It's fine. Listen, so before we wrap it up and before I let you go, at the end of this podcast with all of our guests, we always play a game of rock, paper, scissors. And so I figured we would just do that now and just see who the reigning champ is once and for all.
Sure. Are we doing 2 out of 3 or are we doing what are we doing?
I think 2 out of 3. I think 2 out of 3 is good, right?
So rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah, and here I'll
Okay.
do this and I'll close my eyes so you know I'm not cheating. And then you call it rock, paper, scissors, right?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Bitch. All right, fuck. All right, here we go. I'm gonna lose
Yep.
my own game. Ready?
All right.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Let me be strategic here. You just went for rock. Let me see what my magic. Let me see what my magic history days have taught me about probability and where you're gonna go next.
Perfect. All right.
Okay, ready? Here we go. I think I got it. I think I know what you're gonna do, and I'm gonna trick you, and then you're gonna do the opposite, and then I'm gonna do the opposite of what you think I'm gonna do. Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Got
There it is.
him. I
1 to
knew
1.
it, dude.
1 to
It's that
1.
magic career. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Tied up. Ready?
Yep. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oof. Okay.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Got
He
it.
comes back.
Got it.
Wins his own
The
game.
comeback kid. It's the psychic abilities. I still got them. Ladies and
love it.
gentlemen, this has been another episode of the What Are We Doing podcast. Listen, all I need you guys to do is break the stigma and crack a smile and go to 20timminutes.com. That's 20tim. INUTES.com. It'll be down in the description below, in the show notes, everywhere you're seeing this. Click the contact him button if you need someone to talk to, or you want to talk to him on his podcast, or you can text him at 781-523-9333. Tim, anything else to plug? What do you want to say to the people before we head out? Anything else? What we got?
Nothing to plug, man. Just ELE. Everybody love everybody. Go do something good for somebody this week and just love one another. I love you.
Hell yeah. I love you too, buddy. Listen, break the stigma, crack the smile, check out this man's podcast, subscribe below. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.